Mr. Chiang, would you said you wanted to speak?
Hello. I know there's so many issues that raised this evening, but issues that were raised long ago. And they're nothing new. In fact, the Suhakam had a conference on human rights and election and came up with a report. And there are quite a number of suggestions here. For example, the same thing about the automatic registration when they reach the age of 21. The election period with not less than 20, the campaigning not less than 21 days, and the death, the moment the death certificate is issued, it should be linked to the SRB. So, and then it's also about the access to media and also forth. And so it's no point for us to raise issues year after year without taking some actions. And if these are not taken to consideration, the frustration of the riot will increase and not decrease. And so, as Tan Sri, you suggested that there should be a small group. And I would like to recommend that when the small group meet, that the report of Suhakam be taken into consideration and form the basis for the discussion. And I hope that every party, particularly the SRP, would be open-minded enough to consider very seriously the recommendation, because all of us want a fair election. And we have a free election, but a fair election, that's what the riot wants. So we hope that out of all these things, something concrete will come of it. It's not just again and again, the whole issues have been raised. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we want results. That's what I think has been repeatedly said. Andrew, your hand was up much earlier, and yes, please. And then the ladies in yellow.
Thank you, Tan Sri. Andrew Koo, lawyer in private practice. Tan Sri, it was very interesting just now when you were talking about the fact that as a former civil servant, you said that you would give recommendations to government, and then you talked about political will. And as you were talking about that, Dato' Wira Wan Ahmad was nodding his head in total agreement with you. Of course, there is a major difference, right?
I could not see him from my side.
Yes. He is not a civil servant. He is an election commissioner. And
I said the mindset.
Well, then we have to talk about the mindsets of why is it that only former civil servants get to be appointed.
That's why I said you should not have former civil servants.
Because the important thing is this, and I would like to ask Dr. Wira Wan Ahmad, what are the issues of principle that you have recommended to government to change in terms of our electoral process? And when they have said no, what have you done? Have you just said, oh, okay, the government said no, then okay, no. Or have you said, no, this is a matter of principle. If you don't accept this, the election commission will all the commissioners will resign as a matter of principle. Because the government cannot have a situation where the entire election commission, all the 7 commissioners resign on matters of principle, because then what you're saying is that they don't trust the government. The government is trying to gerrymander, trying to fudge the electoral system, and you as men of principle are against this, and unless you accept our recommendations, we are all going to resign. Has that ever happened? Has that situation ever arisen? And this is something I think we all want to know. That's my first question. My second question is simply this. You talk about, Dr. Amiga has also mentioned this a little bit. You talk about not wanting 21 days a minimum campaign. Your chairman has gone, on July 17th, I think the Star reported that he said, no, we cannot have 21 days. 8-9 days is enough, because the reason given was because it's too expensive for the parties. I'm sorry, but I don't understand what the party's expense has got to do with the number of days that we have elections. Unless, of course, you are suggesting that they'll run out of money and promises if you have it for 21 days. And I was in Sarawak during the election, and you had a campaign period of basically 9 days. I looked at some of the cards, the identity cards of the polling agents and the, what do you call this, the hot panas, the barong panas tags. Those tags didn't have photographs on them, didn't have signatures on them, right? All they had was a surat that they were given. So the point is that for 8 or 9 days of campaigning, the Election Commission doesn't even have enough time to make sure that all these authority cards are filled in properly, have their photographs, have been signed by officials, have been stamped properly. They're issuing blank cards.
Okay, I think you got the point.
Okay. And the third point, finally, going back to indelible ink, the Election Commission is now saying, oh, we don't want to use indelible ink because it's only used by countries like Egypt and Pakistan or whatever it is, India, as though somehow this is an inferior solution, and Malaysia, we are far more advanced in that matter, right? But in 2008, it was the Election Commission that wanted indelible ink. So in 3 years, have we moved so far and progressed so much that we don't need to use indelible ink anymore?
You want to answer? Shall we hear the two ladies in yellow? The two ladies in yellow, they've been waiting a long time. Thank you.
My name is Anne James, citizen, Malaysia. Based on what Dr. Wirawan Ahmad Omar said earlier today, my impression of the Election Commission is basically an event management company and their client is the government of Malaysia. I'm sorry to say that's the impression that came across. You are just measuring posters and making sure you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Now, in terms of the biometric system, with a country and a citizenry that has lost faith in the executive, in parliament, in the judiciary, with the police force, and now with the Election Commission, how are we expected to trust a biometric system when we don't even know if the electoral rolls are clean? Because the basic premise is the electoral roll must be clean. And if you cannot accept repeated reports, except if it goes to court and then nothing happens, if you cannot accept all those reports, then what are we supposed to do as citizens? You expect a phantom voter to come up and make a report? Of course he's not going to do. He's paid to be a phantom voter. And of course, if somebody is forcibly put his finger in the indelible ink, then he'll come up and make a report. But you expect phantom voters to come up? Of course they're not.
Okay, phantom voters will not turn up, cannot turn up.
Yeah. So biometric system, we don't know how it's going to work. And based on this, however many million Indonesian biometric workers you're getting in, plus the kind of electoral roll thing that's going on in Sabah and Sarawak, how do we trust this?
Thank you. I think, he's taken note, he'll reply. The other lady in yellow just now?
Let me reply first.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Suivin. I'm a homemaker, wishing for a better Malaysia for my children. First of all, just one comment and two questions. Datuk Shafi'i, I don't think Datuk Ambiga is harping on electoral reform. I think we are all harping. Thank you. Datuk Ambiga, of course, very thank you. Two questions. I think Datuk Wan, we do have serious confidence issues with the Election Commission. Now, recently when I read about the surge in voters in the Star, it came to my attention that it was reported between 2008 and 2009, there were 10 million registered voters with 4.3 million unregistered. Then it was further added that this year there are 12 million registered voters with 3.6 unregistered. So I did some simple calculation and I could arrive only on a difference of 600,000.
Now, I'm adding on what you said just now, that you are deleting about 7,000 a month, which works out to an average of 84,000 per year deleted from the electoral roll. Can you please explain the difference of easily 1.4 million addition to the electoral roll in a year? I checked with a friend, she's SMS me, she's Googled, the total number of SPM students taking the SPM last year was 404,121. So if we take that, roughly 500,000 people reach the age of 21. So please answer that, because that is something I'm grappling with. The other question is this, and it's also a personal appeal to you, Dato' Ira. Really, as a Malaysian, I believe that you hold a fantastic position. You may be number 2. But this is a personal appeal to you to act to your conscience. May God bless you and guide you and do what is right for us. Yes? Yes, you like to say this, and UMNO and BN has been saying this, that hey, in the 2008, so many people, so many opposition candidates won. But what I've noticed, since 2009, when Najib came on board, he did not contest the first by-election. But I have noticed that since then, he has practically won all by-elections. This is serious, and this is what scares me, especially now with what's happening with biometric registration. I am growing increasingly concerned, because here you are, you have such a long-standing issue of not, one last point, of not getting the link on death permits, but you could do this biometric permit in such a short time. Link. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I'll stop there for the time being. And Dr. Mira, would you like to respond? You are a brave man, really.
There were so many issues raised just now. I think, before I forget, I will take the lady's question. We have 37 million unregistered Malaysian 21 years and above. Okay, because we have about 15 million or 15.6 million 21 years and above, the voting age for Malaysia. So we have 12 million voters. 12 million voters, registered voters. That's why it comes a difference of 3.7 million unregistered who are 21 years of age. We have appointed assistant registrars from all political parties, and they are working very hard helping SPR to make young people register. And on top of that, we appointed NGOs to be our assistant registrars. People can just walk to post office and register within 5 minutes. Okay, that is one of the reasons why we feel that, do we really need automatic registration? Because in a functioning democracy, I thought rakyat should be given a choice. There are people, I mean, you don't force people to register. You don't force people to register if he's not interested with what is going on in this country. No, you feel different, but there are some people who think differently. Okay. What we feel correct, some people may feel differently. Okay, so that is one thing. But we'll be, for EC, definitely we'll be looking seriously into this point. Because
you need a clap for that.
But for the past 2 years, we were looking into this issue of automatic registration. Then we got feedback saying that you don't force people to register if he's not interested about politics. So be it. But that is number one. But anyway, it is so easy to register. In our registration system now is so easy. Every political party is really working very hard to register people. So I think if people talk about automatic registration, they may have some other agendas, probably thinking about just now, which EC will look into it. The Malaysian outside, maybe, because they are Malaysian citizens, then their names are on the database of national registration, then probably when we do automatic registration, they automatically become voters. But they are elsewhere around the world. So The government has a policy on that also. We have brought this matter to the government of the day. We discussed. The government gave their position. We got our position. So, when the position has been made by the government and asking us to come out with more convincing position, convincing arguments why we need an automatic registration, of course we give whatever arguments that we may have in mind now. But again, the system is the government must agree on this policy first. Then the question of political will. Then only whatever draft to change the constitution from 21 to, from application to become a registered voter to make it automatic registration. It is here in the constitution. So one minister, when the bill is being drafted, the minister will table in parliament to get two-thirds majority to change this amendment, to make this amendment. So election commission can propose. It's not a problem. We see some good points. We see some bad points. To some sector of population, this is good. To others, they say, well, you can wait first because it's not so difficult to register. Everybody can register. And the other thing is, 40%, according to survey that we made, according to national registration, close to 40% of our population do not reside at the address on the My Card. That what I call as appeared in the database of the national registration. So if you just take the whole database of NRD, convert them automatically, become registered voter, there will be 35 to 40% of people are not staying at their address. And in the perlembagaan, alamat yang bermastautin, residential address, the address where a person resides, because he is going to choose wakil rakyat for the area. So you can imagine 35% of our population will be staying in Penang, or people staying in KL, but he is voting for people in Pahang. There will be, that means whereas the constitution, the spirit of the constitution is you vote for wakil rakyat in your area. That means you live in your area. You live at the address of your. So that is the kind of argument, the feedback that we got. You may not agree, but I'm telling you, as I said earlier, you may not agree, but there are these opinions coming. And then the other thing is, I would like to touch on Mr. Andrew. He talked about election commission. Sorry. There should be one question. Let me respond. One question, then easy. But anyway, one of resignation. Resignations asking the election commission to resign if our proposal bring to the government reject. You are asking too much actually. No. The first, no, I think you got to be reasonable here. You got to be reasonable. Because we are working within the system. We are working within the system. You put anybody, you put ex-judge to be the chairman of election commission. He can push whatever reforms, but if the system remains like what it is today, I think he has to work within the system. But of course, he may be the person who say, I don't care. If I have to resign, I will resign. He may be that kind of person. But that will be the situation. You have to work within the system. That's why I was talking.
Now almost 5:30.
I was talking to Tan Sri just now.
I'm in your hands. Don't blame me. If there's so much enthusiasm, you want to carry on for another 10 minutes? All right? All right? Do the panel agree?
Yeah, I want to talk something before.
No, you can.
Yeah, I want to talk something on postal voting because this is one of the demands raised by Brazil. Postal voting. We are looking at postal voting, and we are going, as what the chairman of EC has been talking about it, and I've been saying through the media. We are now going to introduce advanced voting system. Advanced voting system means what exactly happening on polling day with the ordinary voters, that exactly to happen for the military and the police. For the military and the police voters, because these people are under the perlembagaan, the armed forces personnel and the police personnel are considered absentee voters. Pengundi tidak hadir, it is in the law. Perlembagaan, it's not in the registration election law. Then we are going to do advanced voting system where everything is happening on polling day for the ordinary voters, like what we go to polling station and vote, right before the eyes of our candidate's agent, wakil calon, that is going to happen to the system of voting, advanced voting for the armed forces personnel and the police personnel. Please understand, the police are helping Election Commission in conducting election. There are a lot of steps and processes that the police involvement. And aside from that, the police look after the law and order, traffic congestion. So meaning to say, the police are working on polling day. So they have to work, they have to vote in advance. And the military, we have come to an agreement with the ministry, with MINDEF, that we are going to proceed with what we are going to plan, that is advance voting for the military. So that is going to happen. We are not going to use karung anymore. This karung only post. That's what you see in the media. We are going to use transparent ballot box in the polling station that we are going to set up for the advanced voters. So these are the things that we don't have to change the law. We don't have to change. We're just working on it now. So I think not that we are not.
You seem to be making progress,
Yeah.
Dr. Wira. Can I ask, not on behalf of Dr. Ambiga or the yellow shirts, but from my own position here, of the 8 demands made by Bersih, in the review that you're going through, how many are acceptable in the short term, which is within your purview, if I may ask you?
The minimum 21 days campaign period, we are looking seriously. But we may come to a point, we may not agree, because we got some feedbacks from other agencies of government, also especially the police. And we got to get feedbacks from the government, also from the BN also. They have interest in all these things. Not just we here, we speak on behalf of what we feel here, but they have their voice also.
No, that's good. At
Okay.
least from the commission point of view, satu.
But we are going to look seriously on this. It may not be 21 days,
Never mind.
but certainly, definitely impossible is going to be, as what the constitution requires or the law requires, 7 days. It's going to be impossible 7 days. It's going to be a reasonable period of campaign.
Maybe 15 days or something like that.
Yes, definitely reasonable, which I think all political parties will see it okay to sell the manifestos, to introduce the candidates and so on.
This is reassuring. What the
And then the free and fair access to the media. When we brought the matter to the government of the day, they said, RTM, the public media RTM is the official channel of the government. That's what you said. But that's how they interpret.
No, listen. I think he's making a very valid point.
I'm telling you,
He's saying
because I want to.
commission.
We have brought the concern, we have brought the complaint to the very authority, but they say, okay, they will look into it. The next general election, they will look into it. In fact, we are prepared to be probably the moderator in the RTM debate. We are prepared. But again, the political will of the government, whether they want to.
So we got 2 out of 4.
We got whether they can agree or not that the public media should be open. But as it is now, the official response of the government is that no, TV1 is RTM is an official channel of the government of the day.
Then they can direct it to do So liberal.
So in other words, we told them what people are asking. We brought the Brussels demand or the political parties' request. We pushed it to the government. We made the government, especially on this, and they responded accordingly, as I mentioned earlier. So what else SPR should do?
Indelible ink?
Indelible. Why we need biometrics so much? Allow me to explain just 1 or 2 minutes. Because we never said our principal role that containing 12 million voters is perfect. We never say. We always encourage political parties, if you have names of clones, names of duplication, come forward, give us the list. And now I think we are going to open SPR to representative of political parties who can bring the list direct to us to show them how we delete, we process the thing. Because right now, our voter, our registered, our DPI, that is Data Pemilih Indo, principal role that contains the 12 million registered voters. We prepared them based on the 12 identifier digits in the My Card. Every My Card got the 12 digits identifier. That is what we base on. So with with biometric, I spoke to JPN already. They got the biometric record, the fingerprint record of all citizens of this country. Because when we register for IC, even if we use the old plastic blue IC, got the thumbprint. Come the next IC, the Bunga Raya IC, got the thumbprint there. And now My Card is very sophisticated. So we are going to get the biometric record of 12 million registered voters. We are going to transfer, to mesh, to check our authenticity of each record based on biometric. No two persons will share the same biometric.
Can one person do it 10 times?
So one more thing, I would.
So you asked the question. Why don't you?
One more thing I've been saying. We ourselves, we have not finalized the thing yet. Remember I mentioned the chairman of the EC mentioned in the media. We are now in the process of kajian yang terperinci. It's nothing definite yet.
But I think the answer is she can register 10 or 20 or 100 times, but they'll be found out. Am I right?
Yes. 10% register how many times? Because I noticed, madam, you talk a lot of based on perception and your own suspicion.
Absolutely.
Definitely, I don't blame you. You make your conclusion based on perception, your own perception, and based on your suspicion. But we will invite political parties. We will invite political parties.
Is it on this point?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, quickly then.
Yeah.
Because we are getting on
There are
time.
quite a number of us who cannot use the biometric system. For some reason, the skin doesn't work on the machine.
Yes.
And this is not from some other. I am one of those. You know, I go to the bank, I have to do it a few times. At the NRD office, the girl at the NRD office asked me, "Are you really the person?" Okay. So
There will be very few. There will be very few, and we go back to the My Card because we're not going to do away with My Card.
One thing, just I'm a security expert, okay? Has immigration ever, have you checked immigration? What is the failure rate?
What is the failure rate when you go and put your fingerprint? I have been overseas in the last 1 month on 9 occasions. It failed me on 7 occasions. It failed me on 7 occasions. I'm telling you today. So I think it's serious issue here. Because immigration, when they did certain things, 300 million went down the drain. Nobody questioned it. They spent another 150 million to upgrade it.
You're saying it's a very attractive contract.
Exactly. So I tell you, Tan Sri, please, Dato Ambiga, Dato Sri, of course you know me, you can write it down in your diary today. Dato Tasli mentioned this, that there is a very high probability of failure on biometric Not because the immigration is fall or anything of that sort, because as you grow older, the texture of your skin tends to change. And when you take your fingerprint at the age of 21, I can tell you, after 10 years, you will find that the reading itself is misaligned.
Okay, that's all. Thank you. I can see I got a sore thumb myself. So, you know, can I say this? It's 5:40. It's not fair to keep you all. I don't think I can entertain any more questions. Except if Prem, you want to say, because he comes from the Majlis Agama, which represents about 45% of our population. But make it very short and hopefully sweet.
Thank you. Tan Sri Rapanavaratnam, Dato Vira, Dato Ambika, and Dato Sri Muhammad Shafi. It was a very entertaining discussion. But the only thing to me, as a person coming from the religious background, that the MEC doesn't seem to understand their duties and responsibilities. It's coming out very glaringly. So I suggest that probably that Ambika maybe take the EC through the rules and regulations upon which they have been commissioned, and probably then identify the areas where they should be working on, so that we can have a clean electoral system.
Okay.
You see, we are answerable to our religious practitioners. You know, it is important, as long as you do your duties and responsibilities, the rights will take care of itself. Like the gentleman just now talked about the hadith, call you, you know, on that. As a Buddhist, I think our religion teaches us to do our duties through everything.
Yeah, I agree. If we all, including myself, followed our religious principles, there would be no problem. And
yes,
I think we should
thank
do
you.
It. Yeah. Now, let me just sum up. Yeah, okay, YB, because you're the only YB around here.
Okay,
So
very quick, okay. On the issue of allowing the political parties to send ARO, Assistant Registration Officer and all that is happening now, after a long absence. We used to be able to do it, and then after that they stopped it, and then they make a hell of a noise. Now we're allowed to do it. But there are a lot of problems, like the ARO, they're only given 100 forms each time they go to the office, no matter how far you stay away from the office and all that. So there are a lot of problems faced by us, and also the IC problems, and then also you are not allowed to do the transfer. You're only allowed to register new voters, but a voter wanted to transfer to another place, you are not allowed to do and all that. So there's a lot of problems.
No,
okay?
it's a serious matter.
Yeah.
You can ask him to respond now.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Yes, there's
I know what you're saying.
I got one more thing.
You know.
One more thing. Mbika just now has already told us the panel was appointed by the AGOM and they are protected, right? Like the judges and all that. So the question of the need to threaten the government to resign if they don't listen to that doesn't arise because they are protected. So we want them to exercise that right. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay, can I just say this, and I want to say this very clearly with Dato Vira here. My feeling is that after all these protests over many years, not only recently, government is slowly coming around to accepting some things. So my understanding is that, listening to Dato Vira and other panelists, and I'm looking at the Bersih demands, I think the electoral roll, that they are taking steps, maybe not fast enough. Number two, the reform of the postal ballot. Please disagree with me if you want to. They are going to have advanced balloting. Indelible ink, well, the biometric system is arguable. If they are listening to the public, I think they will want to move towards indelible ink. Minimum of 20 days, I think he has said that they are sympathetic, could be maybe 15 days. Free and fair access to media, that can be done in 24 hours. You just direct the TV, and I can see they are sympathetic. So there's a gap between government and the commission. Some other things may be taking longer time, like stop corruption, God. Not only in the electoral system, I was the chairman of one important panel in the MACC, and I think I understand it. Stop dirty politics. well, a lot of politicians are dirty. YB, with due respect to you. Yeah. So, those are longer term. But some of these things can be done, and I hope they'll be done. Now, I think we have finished the discussion from the floor. Why don't you give them the mic, you know? When now we are tired and maybe our hearing is less.
I do apologize, but I think it's important for all of us to understand what Dato' Wira has been talking about in terms of the request about postal voting. Now, what he has said is that we're not going to have postal voting anymore. We're changing its name and we're calling it advanced voting, right? And advanced voting means you do it then on the same day. But my question is, the Constitution allows for postal voting, especially for Malaysians who are living abroad. There are categories of Malaysians who are under existing law entitled to vote. The question is, most of the embassies overseas of Malaysia don't understand how to register voters. Don't know what to tell people who come up to them and say, we want to register to vote. And if you keep to 8 or 9 days, as Dr. Ambika has said, there is no opportunity for them to even get their ballots, mark it, and send it back in time. Because by then, you know, a week has passed,
Okay,
9 days
give him a chance to reply.
So the question that I want to ask is, in his years as Deputy Chair of the Election Commission, how many overseas votes have actually come into Malaysia? I would like to know that.
Okay, now